Here in Florida, we have something special, the blessing of science. There's enough land here to hold all the ideas and plans we could possibly imagine. We know what our goals are. We know what we hope to accomplish. And believe me, it's the most exciting and challenging assignment we've ever tackled at Walt Disney Productions.
It's nice to meet you. And this is my assistant and good right arm, Figment.
So, it is with great pleasure that I present
WDW Radio, your information station.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to the WDW Radio Show, your Walt Disney World information station. I am your host, Lou Mangello, and this is show number 760. And together, as we have been since 2005, I want to help you have not just the best possible Disney vacation experience when you come to the parks, but I also want to bring you a little bit of Disney magic wherever you are, here on the podcast, my weekly live video on Facebook every Wednesday night, blog, events, weekly newsletter, and more. Please join the community and find everything at WDWRadio.com. So this week, we're going to continue our journey through and about the best of the best from the Disney parks around the world, as we now venture into the parks and discuss the very best of the attractions, queues, shows, parades, nighttime spectaculars, shops, live entertainment, music, and much, much more. We're then going to wrap up our conversation with a look at the overall experiences, and I invite you to share your answers to some comparative and reflective questions as well. Then stay tuned for our Disney Trivia Question of the Week, where you can enter for a chance to win a Disney Prize package, and more updates and your voicemails at the end of the show. We're going to dive right into part 2 and pick up where we left off last week. And of course, if you like what you hear, please share the show and tell a friend. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode of the WDW Radio Show. Throwing his hands up like, come on, Mangello, let's go. All right, let's go from nighttime spectaculars and parades. Let's get our hands dirty and talk about some of the attractions. And I'm leading off with one that is not just one of, if not arguably my favorite, but one that has various versions around the world, and it's the Haunted Mansion. And your question is, yes, it's the quote-unquote best Haunted Mansion, but which one captures the essence, right? The essence of what that attraction is the best. Janine, Jeremiah, and Becky. Becky is asking Jeeves, what is the Haunted Mansion?
Oh my gosh.
I guess if you ask which one captures the essence, I would probably have to go with the Disneyland version, because that was where they made the essence, I guess. I think that there are other versions that I think are arguably smoother, have better use of technology now, like the Mystic Manor. But I think that the original has sentiment value to it that the others do not.
Yeah, I'm right there with Janine. I would love to see some of the technology from Magic Kingdom's Haunted Mansion moved in there, like mostly like the surround sound, not the bad projection ghost. But yeah, the original one is the classic. I mean, yeah, Mystic, but when you phrased it, which one do you think captures the essence of the attraction the best? You know, in my head, I want to say Phantom Manor, because that is the most amazing attraction, but it doesn't capture the Haunted Mansion. The Haunted Mansion is fun and, you know, a little bit spooky, but not too much, where Phantom Manor is just, you don't take kids on that ride.
I went round and round and round about this because, yeah, Phantom Manor, beautiful, awesome technology, but then you got the uniqueness of Disneyland Paris. But again, to the spirit of your question, what captures the essence? It's going back to the original Disneyland Haunted Mansion.
So would you say that Phantom Manor is the quote unquote best of, objectively best of the mansions, while Disneyland's original sort of, it is the first, it is as Janine said, sort of the essence of what the attraction really is?
I don't know if it's
Phantom
the best. Go ahead.
I think Phantom Manor tells the story that if Mark or Rolly got in charge of doing the Haunted Mansion originally, we may see a story, not two different parts stuck together. But no, the best is definitely Disneyland. There's nothing wrong with it. They to the point where they haven't gone in and tweaked it and changed technology other than the Hatbox Ghost and the Bride over the years. So yeah, that's still the best. And the elevator.
Yeah, I think maybe I just wanted to interpret, the recovering attorney in me wanted to interpret the question to suit my answer, because I the first time I saw Phantom Manor, I fell in absolute love with it, because it does capture the essence, because it is a unique storyline. It's tied to the surrounding, not just land, but this fictional town of Thunder Mesa. It blends not just the Gothic themes of the mansion, but the Western theming of Thunder Mesa. And I liked a little bit of that darker tone. I liked the fact that there is an additional scene that we don't get in other parks. So in terms of being like the essence of what the mansion originally was, technologically innovative, unique storytelling, amazing technology that's being used to, and by amazing technology, some of it's old technology, but technology that's being used to, not just for the sake of technology, but to further the story. It's why I love Phantom Manor so very much. So let's go from mansions to mountains. And what mountain attraction worldwide, Space Splash, Big Thunder, whatever you want to include in the mountain ranges, is your favorite, and why? Janine, Becky, Jeremiah.
So this one was difficult for me because in general, I'm not like a huge thrill person, although I don't have an aversion to them either. I'm very fond of Space Mountain over at Disneyland, but I would say the very close ones for me also are Thunder Mountain at Disneyland Paris and that Big Grizzly Mountain Runaway Mine Cars over in Hong Kong. I think all three of those are very good for a variety of different reasons.
Mine is totally sentimental, 100% totally sentimental, which is actually the Matterhorn, because it was one of the very first mountain rides I ever did as a child. And it used to be that the Skyway went right through it. And I remember when I was 7 or so, looking straight down and seeing all the tracks and seeing the Yeti from the SkyTrain. And it was something that really inspired me to want to ride the ride because it didn't look as scary when you actually could see down into the bones of it. I have a wonderful memory of me and my dad riding the Sky Ride and then going and riding the Matterhorn. So for me, 100% sentimental.
If I was a chiropractor, I would just stand at the exit of Matterhorn and just hand out business cards.
It depends on what side you choose. Do you choose the fast side? It's like, do you take the red pill or the blue pill?
Or they should sell like they should like
after you get off of it.
Right. They should rent like butt pillows so you can like buy a pillow if you need one. All right, go ahead, Jeremiah.
The donuts, yeah. I was going to include one that, we don't really say as much of a mountain, but we always forget about it. Expedition Everest. Mm-hmm. But as that could be up there with the most thrilling. As far as my favorite, and I only got to ride this 2 or 3 times while I was there. Like Janine said, Big Grizzly Mountain Runaway Mine Cars in Hong Kong Disneyland. It really takes the best of Everest and Big Thunder and everything and puts it all together in a fun story. You have the backwards part, you have the animatronics, and it's a lengthy coaster. So that's one, there are plenty of reasons to go out to Hong Kong Disneyland, not saying Mystic Manor is the only reason. It is, but Big Grizzly is a good reason to go out there for more than 5 hours on Mystic Manor.
Yeah, so for me, I thought, look, remember the first time you walked into Pandora and you saw the mountain range of Flight of Passage? I'm like, well, it's technically not like a mountain attraction. Same thing like for Cars Land and Radiator Springs, and Everest almost made my list were it not for Mount Prometheus and Journey to the Center of the Earth. It was a far like clear and a far and away winner for me. It is a true e-ticket attraction. It is a wonderful in terms of theming, rewritability. It is breathtaking and magnificent in scope and scale. It's beautiful in the day. It's beautiful in the night. It for all the reasons Janine mentioned before too, and theming wise alone, like you don't have to even ride the attraction, just to sort of walk in and through Mount Prometheus. And Journey to the Center of the Earth is also a remarkably good thrill ride as well. So, but the story often doesn't begin when you strap yourself in or sit down in your seat, but begins in the queue. So what attraction offers the most immersive queue experience that helps to set the stage for the attraction you're about to experience? Becky, Jeremiah, and Janine.
I think I'm going for the obvious answer. There were several in my brain that I was kind of rattling around with, but I think for me, it's Rise of the Resistance. Mm-hmm. I think the immersion that you get in that, depending on where you say the queue starts, because I think that was, or ends, that was part of the things that was going on in my brain, is it just when you get up to the point where they count you in and you watch the BB-8 and all of that go on, is that where the queue ends, or is that still part of the queue? And then you get onto the transport. That seems like it's still part of the queue in a way, because then you have to queue up, go through the large stormtroopers room. Then you end up on the attraction for me. So considering that if the queue ends after the stormtroopers room, Rise of the Resistance is the one that is the most immersive, the most impressive, the most bringing you into the story, telling the story along the way for queues for me.
For me, and I'm pretty sure Janine will know this story also because she was probably there. I waited 3 hours to wait 3 hours in a queue at Disneyland's Indiana Jones and the Temple of Midnight, the AP night. They had a line down Main Street that was just to walk through the queue because the attraction hadn't opened. And I waited all the way down Main Street to wait through a queue to exit before you got off. And it's the same as Crystal Skull in Tokyo Disney Sea. It just, as soon as you walk into the land even, you're already part of it. That's the original immersive queue back in '95 when they did the first one. And everything since then, I think, has just tried to be that.
For me, I had picked Tower of Terror in Tokyo Disney Sea because I feel like that ride is 90% queue. Like, I think if people are looking for a thrill on a drop, that's probably not the Tower of Terror you want to go on. But I think that everything leading up to the elevator and the drop is just amazing. It's a completely different story from all of the other Tower of Terrors. And the part where you walk through it, you see like all of the artifacts that Joe Rohde, I always forget the name of his character, collected in the ride. It's an impressive accumulation.
Harrison Hightower III.
Harrison Hightower, that's right.
Of all the questions, I think this is the one that I had the most difficulty with, because I could make arguments for 4 different ones and be perfectly happy with my answer. So Indiana Jones, both in Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea, that this recreation of the archaeological dig site with the hidden messages and the backstory is so well done. Jeremiah, you're right. It's a queue worth waiting for. Even Mystic Manor, right? And I have deep, deep love for this attraction. The queue is it's like a prelude to the story of the manor. It's like a forward to a book, and there's artifacts and there's hints as to what is coming. Tower of Terror, the same thing, especially over at Tokyo Disney Sea, is so intricately themed to create this foreboding atmosphere with the lobby and the gardens. What?
For wedding?
Foreboding?
Does nobody know Back to Neverland anymore? Sorry.
I was like, wait, did I misspeak? Did I say a bad word? But Becky, you're right. The Rise of the Resistance queue is a masterclass in immersive storytelling, because just like when you exit, the lines of when the attraction begins and ends are incredibly blurred. And from the moment that you enter that base and the Star Destroyer and you move through the forest, you are sort of part of the Resistance. And the way it blends into the ride experience makes it very hard to tell where the queue ends and the ride begins. By the way, I told you there was no way we could answer 60 seconds for each of these questions. I don't know why you said that at the beginning, but we have a bunch more. We're going to try and go a little bit faster, but I think there's really good ones ahead. All right, let's go from attractions to, Disney theme parks, the merchandise. Of all the Disney theme park souvenir shops, what offers the most unique collectibles or merchandise in it? Janine, Becky, Jeremiah.
I wasn't sure if we could go back to ones that don't exist
Yes,
anymore.
you can, because I did.
Okay, because I feel like as time has gone by, a lot of the shops, it's getting harder and harder to find unique things. I think that they're more standardized now. But the Sid Cahenga's one-of-a-kind antiques and curios shop, like the antique shop that used to be in Disneyland's New Orleans Square. I think that those shops, although they did not sell strictly Disney merchandise, I think the fact that they sold outside merchandise really gave those areas a feel of reality that I think they could use more of today.
Nice. That's a really good answer.
That is, really, and I don't know how to follow that up. I am not a shopper. I will put it out there right now. So usually for me, my best stop is at the World of Disney, because I can get everything that I saw in all the other shops in that one place. The only thing that I can think of that is unique, and please forgive me because I don't know the name of the shop right off the top of my head, but in Galaxy's Edge, where they have all the Star Wars hilts and so forth. That's one of the most unique places I like to hang out in there to see what the new thing is that everybody needs to get. Or when they brought out the Kyber crystals at one point and people were trying to put flashlights through to see what color it was. There's just some unique pieces in there that obviously for Star Wars fans, it's the place to go.
Doc Ondar is also it's a great answer.
Thank you.
For me, again, I put down two words: Tokyo Disney Sea. When I went there, every shop has something unique. It's amazing. The one that really stood out to me, and I was just trying to look up the name of it, the exit to the Tower of Terror. That's the pool that you could look at the tile work and it's all done and it's beautiful. But one of the things about Tokyo Disney Sea, just like Disneyland, they're a seasonal place. I went there before one of their seasonal events started, like the day before, and I saw 12 different things. I'm like, oh, that's great. And the next day, because they put in all their seasonal merchandise, they pulled it all out. But everything, the same with the exit to Mystic Manor. That shop was great too. But again, as the years go by, they start losing some of those touches, and now it's a lot of, it's the same stuff, sadly.
Yeah. Jenny, when you asked that question, I was like, oh, is she going to talk about the same thing that first came to mind for me, which was the House of Magic on Main Street as a kid? I've told the story a million times because it means that much to me. It's where my dad and I would go on our way out. And I still, somewhere in my garage, have this red sort of horror mask that we got. And I can see and I could smell the House of Magic. I thought about things like Memento Mori, but I also went to Tokyo Disneyland, and I went to Disney and Company. And the reason why is almost less specific to the shop than it is to the culture, because they have a lot of little unique gift items, because, and hopefully I'm pronouncing this correctly, it's a Japanese tradition in the culture to bring back omiyage, which is a souvenir. Like if you travel somewhere, you're supposed to bring back a gift for family, friends, and colleagues and coworkers, and it represents sort of this culture of giving and receiving that I love so much about Japan. And I remember walking through the store with this huge smile on my face, picking up these little, trinkets and things like that. I didn't even know who I was bringing it back for, but I just love this idea of wanting to share your experience that you have at this Disney park with people on the way home. So that's why I mentioned Disney and Company. One of the things I love about all of the Disney parks, and I hope especially here stateside and in Walt Disney World, they bring a lot of this and these people back. But when it comes to live entertainment or street performances, which Disney park stands out the most? Janine, Becky, Jeremiah.
So live entertainment, I was always very impressed with all the shows at Tokyo Disney Sea. From the first times that I went there, they would put on these shows that were just massive, that just had more cast members than you could possibly contemplate in 3 shows that you would normally see, like in the U.S. parks. Mythica, Mystic Rhythms, they were all amazing.
Becky?
We're still thinking. This one's hard because one of my favorite not street performers, one of my favorite live entertainment is in a park, but it's not necessarily the one that stands out the most from a park perspective. So that's why I'm going back and forth. From a park perspective, it's probably Hollywood Studios for me, just because I loved all the streetmosphere there. I loved being able to just walk into the park and then be assaulted by 4 or 5 people who were streetmosphere, who were pulling people, out and doing funny things and having that guest interaction. It was so impactful. We see a little bit of it now, but not anything like it used to be. So, all right, I'm going to put that other one. I'm going to put the thing to the side of who my favorite live entertainment is, and just stick with Hollywood Studios.
Hollywood Studios, the streetmosphere where it started really is iconic. But really, the only place that still has that is Disney California Adventure with the citizens of Buena Vista, Five and Dime. I wish that they'd bring back the Red Car Newsboys, because that show, I would see that 5 times a day. But they still have that, and that DCA for me is still, it's alive throughout the lands.
I had a real tough time with this one too, because I thought about things like Lion King, Rhythm of the Pride Lands, which really, really impressed me. My daughter is studying stage management. Like, she could have sat there and just watched that show the entire time we were in Paris. But I'm going to lovingly combine Streetmosphere at Walt Disney World together. I know a lot of folks who are and were Streetmosphere performers. You are missed, like probably more than you know. Main Street USA, the citizens of Hollywood, brought a different life and experience to that park, and are some of the most talented and gifted and funny performers that you'll find anywhere. And there's that thing that's missing. There's still that thing that's missing in the parks for me. Attractions and restaurants and shops and food items can come and go, but that I still feel that absence when I go. I still look for them on Main Street USA. So Streetmosphere, I give you all of my love and hope that you will be able to return much, much sooner rather than later, and never go away again. So, all right. We talk about a lot of sort of obvious things and attractions and shows and food and whatnot, but I think there's also in the parks a lot of hidden gems and lesser known things to do or attractions. So which one is your favorite hidden gem that might not necessarily be on somebody's radar when they visit for the first time, or even if you visited multiple times? Janine, Jeremiah, and Becky. Becky's bouncing in her seat, so she must have a good one.
Don't take mine.
I was like, I think we all could have the same one at this point.
So one of the lesser known attractions that I thought was very impressive was over at Shanghai Disneyland, the Shanghai Challenge Trails. That was one where I thought, wow, you could never do this back home, because you could probably totally die on this and nobody would ever blink twice.
She's not wrong.
You're not wrong.
No, and that was one of my thoughts. But really, there are two, and they both happen to fall in the same spot in Tokyo Disney Sea. And I'm guessing when me saying Tokyo Disney Sea, you both know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. Sinbad Storybook Voyage and the Magic Lamp Theater are both. Those two were things. The Magic Lamp Theater wasn't even on my radar when I walked in there. Sinbad, we all had seen a little bit. It's a small world taken to the millionth degree. Both those are reasons to go to Tokyo Disney Sea.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two good ones. I have one domestic and one in Tokyo, and obviously the domestic is Mater's Junkyard Jamboree, because I cannot let that question go without saying that, because so many people just walk past it like, it's a little kiddie scrambler ride. No, it's great. It's a great time had by all. And one of the places that I still giggle every time I think about riding that thing, ride it. Especially if you have a brother-sister scenario and you want to like slam each other into the sides, that's Mater's. But the one that really hit me besides that is, Lou, we were together. Remember when we went to Tokyo Disneyland for the first time, and you said, somebody told me we need to do Pooh's Honey Hut.
Oh.
And I'm like, why do we need, because we were on a really tight schedule. We could only see a few things. And it was like, well,
and there were so many children present. So you were a little freaked out. I get it. It's cool.
You're cute right now. Anyway, so it's like, okay, apparently we have to go do Pooh's Honey Hut. We got off of Pooh's Honey Hut, and that was like, we need to do that again. Whoever gave you that advice was so right. And I think if you don't know that there's a lot of hidden gems within that attraction, you might just go right past it, but definitely ride the ride.
I agree with all of yours, including one especially. Because at first I thought about, like, the first time I went to the Animation Academy in Disney California Adventure, it's so sort of tucked away. It's very, very easy to miss. And I think it's unique and it's interactive. Sinbad was very much on there again. You will hear mention of Sinbad at least one more time. Even Alice's Curious Labyrinth over in Disneyland Paris, I think, is something that especially adults will often walk by. But Janine, you have it 100% right. The only answer to this question is the Camp Discovery Challenge Trails. It's not just an interactive sort of like thing you see on the playground. It is a physically engaging and truly challenging experience. The lawyers in America would never let this attraction. And when we went, Becky, I remember you didn't want to do it, and it was raining and it was like slippery. And I'm like, I literally, like, this might be the storybook ending to my life, because I live and die at a Disney park. Like, there's obstacles, amazing views of the park, but this outdoor adventure is so different from any other Disney attraction you will find anywhere on the planet. It's not for everybody, and that's not, but it's it definitely is a hidden, potentially scary gem.
It's not really hidden. It's massive. It takes a quarter of the land.
But I think people will walk by and go, I'm not going to do that. It looks like, it's like a kiddie player. It is not. It is not for the faint of heart.
I like how all the safety information, none of it's in English. So
you have no idea.
Good luck, man.
You have to put on a harness. You have to put on a harness at a Disney park. That says something.
I was almost waiting for them to hand me a waiver to sign. That would have been in Chinese. I would have signed it anyway, but it's perfectly safe, and it is a lot of fun. A little scary in the rain. Listen, as the Disney parks are not museums, right? They're constantly changing. But if you could bring back any one retired, extinct attraction or show from any Disney park, which would it be and why? Becky, Janine, Jeremiah.
All right. Again, I have been struggling with but I'm going to go to one that you're probably not even anticipating that I would say, but I have it with caveats. Okay. I would actually love to see Great Movie Ride return with caveats, updated with new technology, with today's technology. I would love to meander aimlessly through movies with today's technology. So I really do miss that one. And I miss the event that we do in there. I miss doing the the progressive dinner inside, so that you go from scene to scene to scene. But that's one that while I love Runaway, but I just really miss Great Movie Ride.
I don't disagree, and I'm going to quickly challenge all three of you. Name 3 movies that you think can and should be in an updated Great Movie Ride. Because the difficulty, maybe this is a separate conversation for a separate show, the difficulty is picking something that is going to appeal to a very, very wide spectrum and demographic of guests that is, quote unquote, timeless and classic without feeling like that was my grandma's movie and I don't know what this is, and relevant and all those things. It is the Great Movie Ride, V2 is very, very, very challenging to pick. So we'll save this conversation for another show, but I will plant the seed and maybe post it in the clubhouse. Other than Jaws, I don't know what else you put in there. Shawshank Redemption. Again, I don't know what fits everybody. It doesn't matter. Let's move on.
What's the gingerbread movie that you posted the other day?
Janine, what's your extinct or retired tried attraction or show?
I actually had Great Movie Ride also. That was always one of my favorites, and I'm bitter and resentful every time I see that very charming railway ride there. I would probably not update it just because I'm skeptical of any updates at this point. I would be happy if they just brought it back as is. I don't care.
Mine, and I hate when I answered this, type in this, I hated myself for it because it's one of those things that every time a fanboy says it, I feel like an angel loses its wings. But I was lucky enough to go on it multiple times, and I do miss it. Horizons. It was the most technologically advanced attraction that had been done to that point. So many different layers, so many different stories, the continuation of Carousel Progress. It was all just great.
But part of the problem with Horizons was you rode it multiple times because there was never a line for it, unfortunately. And it was
exactly.
Listen, it was a ride before its time. That maybe was part of what sunk Horizon. We did a deep dive into onto Horizons a long time ago, which I have to sort of bring back into the archives because it was really one of my favorite shows. This was a no-brainer for me, and I will not do another bad impression, but 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Forget, I know it comes with challenges and ADA and all those other things. It was tight and it was cramped and smelly in the summer and all those other things, but 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and man, there's a lot of personal nostalgia and sentiment there, but I bought into it, man. I dug it. So, all right. In addition to the attractions and the shows, a lot of what makes Disney are the characters. And around the world, the characters and the character interactions can sometimes be very different. So which Disney park around the world do you think has the best, the most wonderful, the most heartwarming character interactions? Becky, I know you're a big character gal, so I'll let you and then Janine and Jeremiah go.
Yeah, I'm a really big character gal. I like to watch from afar. I like to hug a character now and then. That's great. But I'm just going to go with Disneyland right off the bat because they do something unique, or at least it has been unique when you compare it to some of the other parks around the world. You can find them in different places. The characters roam through a land. You can even find characters hanging out in hotel lobbies, and their handlers they don't hover. It's not like they march in a character in a certain spot and the handler brings in one person at a time like they do at Disney World. They're Peter Pan and Wendy are holding hands and skipping through Fantasyland to Disneyland, and they'll stop and talk to somebody, take a quick picture, and then skip to somewhere else. And I just like that it's so organic and natural, those types of character experiences.
Yeah, I am not a huge character person either. I also went with Disneyland, again, for all the reasons you mentioned, that the interactions just seem like they're much more organic than the kind of everybody lines up at 3:00 to see Pooh that you see in a lot of the other parks. I will say, though, that I would probably not know to evaluate the character interactions in the international parks because I would probably not understand what they were saying.
I am a character person. I do enjoy interacting, but just like Becky and Janine, Disneyland, and even more so, DCA Avengers Campus.
Mm-hmm.
Those character interactions, the free roaming. I had an interaction with Thor, talked to him while everybody was trying to push around him, and he walked and talked with me. And then I went and sat down with my friend who I told a story to Thor about. And Thor walked over to me and goes, "Oh, is this your brother?" And we started talking, and he remembered, yes, it was about a span of 3 minutes, but still just the fact that he could do that really stood out to me.
Yeah, I too am not normally somebody who would get online for character photos and things like that. And when I approach this question, I first started thinking about Tokyo Disney Sea because they have rare characters and unique outfits and Gelatoni and Stella Lou and Cookie Ann. And I'm not, this is not, I know this is sort of a very broad stroke of the brush, but those characters and character interactions in some of the overseas parks is pretty intense, even versus it is here. Becky, I remember when we went on some of the ABDs, people will bring their Gelatoni and Stella Lou's and Duffy characters with them to breakfast in different outfits every day and put them on high chairs. Like the lines for characters are very, very, very long. I also thought about Galaxy's Edge. And what I like about this is the cast members are characters and are empowered to create their own legend and backstory. So they are not, just attendants for attractions, but they are characters. And I love that sort of empowerment that they get. But I agree with you. Disneyland, the first time I went there, I was like, why are these characters just roaming freely? Like, it's mayhem. It's anarchy in this park. And there was also like the fight between Cinderella and Mulan that almost took place at dinner, at breakfast at Goofy's Candy Company. But that's another story for another day. It was D23 Expo, Becky. You were there. We'll talk offline.
Okay.
Okay. One of the things I love in the parks are the different modes of transportation that sometimes are conveyances, sometimes are attractions, monorails, boats, and trains, etc. What Disney park has the most enjoyable and efficient and story-driven, whatever you want to, those sort of enjoyable transportation methods, like in park? Jeremiah, Becky, Janine.
Easy. Tokyo Disney Sea, the Steamliner, and the Electric Railway. They're attractions, but they are also transportation.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I had that on my list, but I also had the Disneyland monorail because of the path. I love how the Disneyland monorail goes through the Esplanade and then ends up in the park. How it like circles around and ends up in the park. I always enjoy that ride.
Yeah, all of those are excellent. I would also add the train at Disneyland, which is one of the few trains that seems sort of functional as transportation and entertainment inside the park.
Janine, this is why we're friends, and our love of Japan and the culture. And it's for Disney. For me, I thought about the Skyliner and the rafts at Times Square Island and Tokyo Disney Sea, but the authenticity of that train and the connection to Walt for me, it's in Disneyland specifically. The Disneyland Railroad is it's a meaningful attraction in addition to being a ride and a conveyance. One of the things I love in the parks, and each one has its own, oftentimes unique version of it. What Disney park has the most impressive water-based attraction or show, where water is sort of a requisite element to the attraction or show? I left this one broad on purpose. Janine, Jeremiah, and Becky.
I think this could be another sweep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it is.
I would go with World of Color over at DCA. Just because it's as far as I can remember, it's the biggest water-based attraction that they have now. I was also very fond of Bravissimo, which was a water-based attraction over at Disney Sea that is no longer there now.
Is it me?
Yep.
Easy. Pirates Battle for Sunken Treasure at Shanghai Disneyland. That is not only just one of the most impressive attractions, but the fact that it does take place on water and is a boat ride, just amazing.
Interesting, because I had World of Color thinking that is a show, but when you said that, because I wasn't thinking that is a water-based attraction, but I guess it is. So I'm going to have to go with you, Jeremiah.
I know Pirates is such an easy answer because it is. There's nothing like it. And the first time you go through that one scene and that thing happens and that thing opens, not to ruin it. You've probably seen it already. But when you sort of rise up and come out of the water and the ships are fighting and right in the middle, you're like, good. But then I was like, oh, maybe I'll put, and I can't even pronounce it, but it's basically Disneyland Paris's version of the Storybook Land Canal boats. And I was like, no, I really love Sinbad's Voyage look, the answer is Pirates Battle for Sunken Treasure, but I'm also going to, because there's the, the balance of the old man and the little kid in me, I'm going to put It's a Small World. And if I have to rank the small worlds, Disneyland, Walt Disney World, Hong Kong, Disneyland Paris, and Tokyo, much like the rest of the park, is a best of the best of the best of all the other attractions. It has the characters and the whimsical sets, and it is a near perfect version of the attraction with that charm of the original Mary Blair style from Disneyland and Florida. So we're in the holiday season as we are recording this, and the holidays are not just, the Christmas time holiday season, but there's a lot of holidays that take place throughout the year. Which Disney park do you believe has the most magical holiday transformation? Define your holiday however you like. Jeremiah, Janine, Becky.
Disneyland Paris, and that could be almost any holiday. Their Halloween, they knock out of the park. Their Christmas is beautiful. I do have to say I was at Tokyo Disneyland for Easter, and for a country that doesn't really celebrate Easter, that was one of the most spectacular days I've had in the parks.
I would say that I have not been to Shanghai or Hong Kong or Paris for holidays, I think. So hard for me to evaluate those. But I do enjoy how Tokyo Disneyland still does a lot of that sort of overnight transformation, which I always find very magical. You could go on Country Bears one day and it's the vanilla Country Bears, and then the next day everything is all decked out and they're doing their holiday Country Bear show. So that's always fun.
I haven't been to any of the overseas parks for that transformation to really see it. I think Halloween is the only thing that I've seen in the overseas parks. So I'm going to go with good old Magic Kingdom, considering that they're turning it over from Halloween to Christmas in one magical night. I think that's a feat that the cast members pull off, and they do it beautifully. Would I love to see the castle lights back? Absolutely. But, this is one of those little missing things called progress. But that's probably where we're going to go, just for lack of experience at the other locations.
I define this as magical holiday transformations, so I have to leave Halloween in Hong Kong out because it's downright scary. The park is super cool. If you love Halloween like I love Halloween, it is super cool. But I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to combine Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. I was just there for the holidays. I really, really love not just the iconic decorations, but It's a Small World holiday and Haunted Mansion holiday. And I love what they do over in Disney California Adventure with the Festival of the Holidays, the cultural celebrations, Cars Land and Buena Vista Street and World of Color and the entertainment. Like, really, really, really well done over in Disneyland. All right, we're getting close to the end of our in-park list, but if you had to pick the best overall themed individual land in any Disney park around the world, very quickly, what would it be? Janine, Becky, Jeremiah.
So if you had asked me a couple of decades ago, I probably would have gone with New Orleans Square in Disneyland. But the current lands in their current incarnation, I would go with Mysterious Island over at Tokyo Disney Sea. Just the way everything is detailed and connected. You can see a machine boring a hole in the outside of the mountain, and then you can go into the queue and see the hole from the inside. And I just find that very impressive.
I'm going to go with the one that when I first walked into it for the very first time, it was the very first time I ever felt like I was actually walking into a movie. And I'm going to say Cars Land in DCA, because every single bit of there's detail everywhere comes right back to story. And I remember walking on that street when it first opened, and seriously felt like I was walking right into the movie.
I love Cars Land, but I think something that is taken to the next level with the inclusion of the characters, Avengers Campus.
I love all these answers. My first thought was to go Mysterious Island, but just to sort of give us a wider spectrum too, I was really, really, really impressed with Adventureland in Disneyland Paris. It's huge. You can easily get wonderfully lost there, and you can go through Africa and Agrabah. Like, it has this wonderful sense of sort of exploring the exotic in a lot of different ways, and really, really, really impressive. All right, quickly, from a technology perspective, right? And then I'm really curious to see if we all say the same thing, because I think we can make arguments for a lot of different attractions. But what do you think is the most technologically advanced or innovative attraction you've ever experienced at a Disney park? Becky, Janine, Jeremiah. I
knew you were going to say that.
Yes, because I sent you these questions in advance. Of course you knew I was going to say this.
I was just trying to find where my thought process was going on this, because technical Pirates of the Caribbean in Shanghai, that's technical for me. I know that Rise is close, but that was the one that I would go to just from the experience and the technology behind it.
I thought one of the most technologically advanced ones I had seen in a while was that Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which was a much bigger attraction than I had anticipated, but so many different parts to it, and the way that they have to coordinate all of the ride vehicle movement. I thought they did a good job with that.
I know that I'm the one that's causing us to have to move faster because I have to depart soon, but I thought about all of those, but Rise of the Resistance takes what they wanted to do with Indiana Jones back in the early 90s and does everything with it, from the animatronics to the drop to just the room, the amazement. Rise of the Resistance.
Yeah, I agree. You could also I think you could make an argument too for Mystic Manor. All right, lightning round. We're going to go super fast. The best attraction, soundtrack, or song at any Disney park around the world. Jeremiah, Janine, Becky.
It's a Small World.
Aw.
I had It's a Small World also. It's so iconic and memorable.
I didn't want to have that stuck in my head, so I'm going with Pirates of the Caribbean for Yo Ho, Yo Ho.
Don't talk about Lou that way.
Richard Sherman, I love and respect you immeasurably, and it's easy to pick a Sherman Brothers song, but I think "Compass of Your Heart" by Alan Menken in Sinbad is one of the most beautiful songs ever in a Disney park, period. Of all the Disney park, if it doesn't make you cry, there's something wrong with you. Of all the Disney park castles, which is the most majestic and impressive? Becky, Janine, Jeremiah.
Disneyland Paris, hands down.
Disneyland Paris.
Disneyland Paris.
Yeah, Enchanted Storybook in Shanghai is majestic, but Le Château Le Bon is
it doesn't have a dragon underneath it.
I'm sorry, the what, Lou?
I can only get to Le Château, and then it's all downhill for me. So yeah. Are we all going to say that in terms of attention to detail and theming and design?
Yes.
Are we all going to just
Yes.
agree it's Tokyo Disney
Yes.
Sea? I
No.
wrote the question, I'm like, that's ridiculous.
C.
All right,
See.
last in-park question, then a couple of quick ones. What is, and this is the tough one, and you define it however you want, what is the best overall attraction in any Disney park around the world? And what makes it the best? In one sentence, go. Becky, Janine, and Jeremiah.
Oh, me again. All right, I'm going to go back to Pirates of the Caribbean Shanghai, and I forget what the actual name of it is because it's just
Battle for
Pirates
the
of
Sunken Treasure. Yeah.
that. Again, it was one of those ones that you ride and it's so unexpected, and the thing that happens when it happens, you don't believe it's actually happening, but it's happening. That was one of the rides that I walked out with my jaw on the floor, and I couldn't figure out how it was done.
I would also go with Pirates of the Caribbean, but I would go backwards, and I would go with the original Disneyland version, probably pre-Jack Sparrow. I just think, if you watch game shows, whenever they say something like name an attraction from Disneyland, and most people are like something with Alice in Wonderland, but almost everybody gets Pirates of the Caribbean because I just think that there's something iconic about it that it's easily identifiable for across the board.
So when I think overall attractions around the world, you have to take into consideration technology, story, music, characters, queue, setting, so Mystic Manor.
Right, that's the challenge. How do you balance nostalgia and sentiment and recency bias? Look, the Haunted Mansion is the perfect blend of humor and spookiness and technical innovation that still holds up. But you're right. The correct answer is Mystic Manor. It is a unique storyline, the trackless ride system, the advanced special effects and animatronics. It's immersive. The artwork. Danny Elfman's musical score is possibly the best musical score of any attraction. And it's not scary. Like, it's accessible to everyone. All right. Last couple of questions. What, from your personal experience, what Disney park do you think offers the best overall guest experience? Just bark it out. Any of you?
Tokyo Disneyland.
Yeah, Tokyo Disneyland, probably.
Yeah, I'll make that a third.
So you mean specifically Tokyo Disneyland, not Disney Sea, or do you mean?
Oh, Disney Sea.
I mean, if you could go with both, then I would pick both. But
yeah.
I think Disneyland has more attractions, and sometimes that's important to people.
I like Sea over, Land is great, but it's so
Land
unique.
is the best of the best. Like, Land is just Disney. Yeah, it's the best of the best. Is there a Disney park that you believe captures the essence of Walt's original vision best?
Disneyland.
I'll make the argument for Disney Sea because I think it's that combination of innovation and storytelling that I think this very much sort of follows along in the type of vision that Walt would have had. I'm going to skip that question because I know what the answer is. If you could spend an entire day in just one area, just one park, like just go to one place in one park around the world, which would it be?
Mysterious Island, the rides and the food. Becky's like,
I know it's because there's like there's two, but you're right. Because if I could snap my fingers, I'm thinking if it doesn't matter, money, time, whatever, that's where I would go to, because I enjoyed the atmosphere so much there, and we just need to go back again and again and maybe again after that, because there's so many rides and attractions and cool, unique experiences there that you just don't get in the parks here.
Yeah, I think that is probably my favorite land that exists now. I think my only issue with that is that it is kind of a small area. So if you're going to do an entire day, I would almost go with something like maybe World Showcase, because at least you got along a mile of stuff to wander around in.
I do love me some Mysterious Island. Like for all of the reasons. Becky, you wanted to make sure. All right, I'm going to ask you one quick question, because if you could introduce one attraction or one experience from a Disney park overseas into what you consider your home park, right? So for me, it's World. For you guys, it might be Land. If you could introduce one attraction or experience from an overseas park into your home park, which one would it be? Jeremiah, Janine, and Becky.
To go back to what we talked about just a few minutes ago, Shanghai Disneyland Pirates. I had a dream that after the destination or D23 Expo, when they talked about Moana coming, putting Moana onto that type of ride system in Disney's Animal Kingdom would just have been an amazing attraction.
See, now I had read this incorrectly. I didn't realize it was abroad, because I was going to be like, if you could bring the People Mover back to Disneyland, that would.
That's all right. We'll take that. People Mover is a really good answer.
It is a great answer. Okay, for me, I'm going really off the board here, because this is what I would bring to anywhere that it would be Marvel's Mission Dimensions of Danger, which is the walkthrough that we did at Hong Kong. That to this day, if you ask me if I could go to any attraction that's not there anymore, that would be it. That was the one during our Halloween adventure in Hong Kong that we just looked and said, well, we got some time. Let's go do this, because we had no idea what it was. And to this day, it's probably still one of the most amazing attractions that didn't have billions of dollars of technology to make it work. And I loved it, adored it, and I wish they would bring it to one of the parks just so that we could experience it.
That's a great answer. Now I see why you were winding up for that one since the very beginning. Go back and listen to our Hong Kong review show. I'll link to it in the show notes. You can just search for it in your podcast player. But that pop-up, I look at it as sort of a test-base attraction, walk-through, run-through, interactive experience. Like, yeah,
go.
Talk about lawyers not allowing something like that in the States. It was really, really well done in terms of theming and story and characters, etc. So, as much as I like having attractions and a reason to go visit, I would bring Mystic Manor. My love for Mystic Manor goes wide and deep. And we'll see if what we said at the beginning is true and all of our answers are the same. But if you could visit only one Disney park for the rest of your life, it's the only park you can visit, which one would it be?
Disneyland. I know.
It's a toss-up between Tokyo Disney and Disneyland. I really, that impressed so much upon me when we've been to Tokyo, the two times we've been there. And
we didn't see it all. We still haven't seen it all too, which is
we haven't.
And the park is massive. I struggle with this. Walt Disney World is my home park. I love it for all the reasons. Disneyland is where Walt walked, but Disney Sea is nothing short of spectacular. So I'm not going to answer the question.
Cheater? That's
totally
so mean.
I know.
You put us on the spot, and then you're just like, I'm out. Peace out, people.
Disneyland, if they could put Tokyo Disney Sea inside of it. Listen, so my idea of trying to do these in 60 seconds clearly failed miserably, but hopefully for good reason. This was a lot of fun, and I appreciate you. This is a show, like I said, I've been looking forward to a long time, and I appreciate your time and your input and your voices and your perspectives. And I'm sure there's a lot more we could talk. Maybe we'll get together on a live show one Wednesday night and sort of talk about these together with folks who are listening, and maybe you want to share some of their thoughts and yell at us. How do we possibly leave this thing off our list? And if that's what you're screaming into your phone or into your car right now, please call the voicemail 407-900-9391. That's 407-900-WDW1. Let us know what you thought of the show, what we left off the list, or you can, I'll post questions about these in the Clubhouse, wdwradio.com/clubhouse. Jeremiah from laughingplace.com, Janine and Becky from Mouseman Travel. I will link to all of your stuff in the show notes, but I really, really appreciate your time today. And, for me, a lot of the places that we visited, memories that we shared, the four of us got to do, together at different times. So thank you very much for helping me make these memories and pull a show like this together.
2 words, spaghetti popcorn. Now I'm just craving it.
If you could eat one thing from any Disney park around the world right now, snap your fingers and have at it, what would it be?
Spaghetti popcorn.
Mango Dole Whip.
Bacon rice roll.
Oh, it's so good. But those little
So
dumplings, they're so tasty and delicious and cute. But I would probably go
tails.
for
The tails?
Oh, the chandu tails.
Yes, chandu tails. There we go.
What I wouldn't give for 5 chandu tails right now.
Tigger tails from Disneyland are good too.
I haven't had those. Tigger tails?
Yeah, exit in Pooh's Thoughtful Corner.
What this has shown us, Becky, and you've been resistant to this the whole time. We obviously need to go back to these parks very, very soon.
Hey,
So
Becky,
resistant.
I'll be at Disneyland next weekend if you want to come down and hang out.
Where are we going to be? We're going to be in Budapest.
Somewhere.
Yeah. I'll wait.
Lift your sails to the heavens and fly on the breeze. Head across the horizon to seek brand new seas. Life's awaiting you out there, and if you sail true, you will find the priceless treasure.
It's time for our Disney Trivia Question of the Week, where I invite you to test your knowledge of Walt Disney World, or maybe Disney movie, trivia, history, details, and what you see, or hear, or taste, or remember. And if you think you know the answer, you can enter for a chance to win a Disney prize package. And this week's trivia contest is brought to you by you, because as part of the WDW Radio Nation, you help bring every episode of the show to life for as little as $1 per month. To learn more, you can visit WDWRadioNation.com. Now, before we get to this week's trivia question, let's go back, review last week's, and select our winner. So I just got off the Disney Dream and a very merry time cruise. Thank you very much for following along on social. I'll have a lot more to share on an upcoming episode of the show. So last week's trivia question was about Disney Cruise Line and that how every ship has a statue in its grand atrium or hall. And your question was to tell me what character statue stands in the atrium of the Disney Dream. Congratulations if you answered, got this one correct, and thank you to everybody who entered and knew that the answer is, of course, Admiral Donald Duck. On the Disney Fantasy, which is the Disney Dream's sister ship, there's Mademoiselle Minnie Mouse. Ariel is on the Disney Wonder, and Mickey is at the helm on the Disney Magic. And on the latest ship, the Disney Wish, Cinderella can be found at the base of the Grand Hall's massive staircase. So I took all the correct entries, randomly selected one, and last week you were playing for a WDW Radio 3D keychain, some stickers, a WDW Radio pin, and something that I brought back from the Very Merry Time Cruise. And last week's winner, randomly selected, is Vincent Caldoro. So Vincent, congratulations. I will get your prize package out to you right away. And if you played last week and didn't win, that's okay, because here's your next chance to enter in this week's Disney Trivia Challenge. So 'tis the season to be jolly and joyous and watch one of my favorite Christmas movies, The Muppet Christmas Carol, at least once or twice, possibly 3 times. The story is scary, but it's culture, and it includes Tiny Tim.
And Tiny Tim, who did not die.
Anyway, it's one of my favorite takes on the Dickens classic. So tell me, what character does Gonzo play in Muppet Christmas Carol? Now, I am going to be on the Nat Geo River Cruise this week, so you have until Sunday, December 17th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern to go to WDWRadio.com, click on this week's podcast, use the form there. Again, you're going to play for the keychain, the stickers, the pin, and because in the spirit of the season and Muppet Christmas Carol, I'm going to throw in a surprise mystery prize. So good luck and have fun. That's going to do it for this week's show and our look at the best of the best of the best from the Disney parks around the world. I'd love to hear your thoughts about our conversation this and last week and your answer to the question, if you could spend an entire day in just one area or one land of any Disney park, whether it's one that you visited or one that you want to visit, which one would it be? Why is it Tokyo Disney Sea? And why? I'll post this and other conversation questions over in the Clubhouse at www.radio.com/clubhouse. I invite you to come be part, not just of the community, but of the conversations going on there about everything in the Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars universe. Or if you prefer to share your thoughts via voicemail, you can call it at 407-900-9391. That's 407-900-WDW1, and I'll play it on the air. Please also connect with me elsewhere on social. I am at Lou Mongello on Instagram, where I spend most of my time, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and be sure you like and turn on notifications on the WDW Radio page on Facebook at facebook.com/WDW Radio. I'll be going live this week, not from Walt Disney World, not from Disney Cruise Line, but our Nat Geo Danube Christmas Market River Cruise, December 9th through the 16th. I'll be posting photos and videos and reels and stories primarily on Instagram, but I will go live on Facebook if and when I can. We'll have to see what the internet is like once I get there. I'm very excited to share this experience with you virtually, as well as with all the other members of the WDW Radio family and community that are joining us on board. If you would like to come and be part of one of our WDW Radio group events, go to wdwradio.com/events. You can find out about our next meet of the month in Walt Disney World, our group cruises on the Disney Magic for a 5-night Halloween on the High Seas cruise in October of 2024, our 7-night Western Caribbean cruise on the Disney Treasure in February 2025. We also have a very special Meet of the Month and Lunch and Dream Team auction to raise money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation this January during Marathon Weekend. Again, to learn more and purchase tickets to this event, you can visit wdwradio.com/events. And of course, whether you're coming to one of our events or creating magic on your own in any Disney park or destination around the world, please go and visit our friends over at mousefantravel.com. Because it's more than just about getting the best possible prices and all available discounts. It really is about the personal attention and service that you get from each and every one of the Mouse Fan Travel advisors. It's who I use because it's who I trust. It's why I recommend them, because they not only feel like family, but they make you feel like family as well. Speaking of family, I want to thank all the members of the WDW Radio Nation family and the love and the support and the friendship and the help that you give to me and the show each and every month, and in turn, paying that forward to the Dream Team Project. I want to thank some new and longtime members of the Nation family, including Jonathan Gardner, Stephanie Leopold, Christopher Brown, Lillian G., and Chris. I am so sincerely grateful to and for you for the love and the support that you give. And I love being able to give back to you each and every month with scavenger hunts, our monthly group video calls, access to our private Facebook group, shirts, stickers, monthly care packages from the parks, early access and discounts to special events, and much more. If you want to find out more about the Nation, join the Nation family. And by doing so, help bring every episode of the show to life. You can visit wdwradio.com/support. And if you're looking for a speaker for your next conference or event, or looking to take your idea, business, or brand to the next level, please visit LouMongello.com and find out how I can bring not just actionable insights, but real-world, practical, and tactical strategies to your event or workshops, or whether you're a business leader, entrepreneur, or educator. My talks on customer service and leadership and teamwork will transform your approach to business. And if you're looking for personal growth, I invite you to join my one-on-one coaching or my upcoming weekly mastermind group, which is going to start in January, and check out my Momentum series of events and workshops for more in-depth, in-person learning in Walt Disney World and possibly some other destinations around the country. Again, for more information, visit LouMongello.com. And as always, my friend, and you are my friend, whether we have met yet or not, all I ask is that if you like the show, please help spread the word, share a link to this or your favorite episode with your friends, invite them to listen, subscribe, and be part of the community. And if you can, take just a couple of seconds to rate and review the show, whether you listen on Spotify podcasts or Apple Podcasts. And finally, thank you, thank you, thank you. I love and appreciate you so very much, and I appreciate the gift of being able to share my passion for Disney with you each and every week. So until next time, keep on dreaming, keep believing, and always, always keep choosing the good. I hope that this is your best week ever. So until next time, see ya.
Hi, Lou. Aaron here from Christiana, Tennessee. Just calling to let you know, it's been a while since I've plugged back into the shows, but it's always so nice just to hear your voice and all the friends on the show. Just listen to, I believe, episode 759 is the number on there. But like I said, it's just been a few weeks here since I tuned into the show, and it always just feels like a great big warm hug whenever I get back into the show, and just makes me miss Disney, the parks, and all the memories. So thank you so much. Hope you're having a great holiday season, and hope you have a great new year. Thank you so much for all you do.
Hello, everyone. This is Darlene Nagy, formerly of West Seneca, New York. I just wanted to say I hope you all have a wonderful trip on your adventure in Germany and all the other areas you're going to on your travels to that Amway cruise. Can't wait to hear all about it. It's on my bucket list. Love and hugs. Stay safe and see you real soon.
Hey Lou, it's Patrice Roberti from Metro Boston. I have laryngitis. Excuse me, that's not why I'm calling you. I had heard your audio guide. I had heard this free sample of Liberty Square online somewhere, so I knew I was going to like it. Today on my walk, I took Frontierland, and it was so great. I loved what you were talking about. I loved the ambient noise. I know a lot of those things have probably changed, but it didn't matter. It was almost like you were reading some great story from other days, and it just didn't matter whether it was there now. It had been there once, and you saw it. It was just really good. I hope you'll do more things like that. It might not be easy. I mean, maybe it's not worth it for you, and maybe things change. But just to hear you walking around and describing these things, and even if they're gone, I learned a lot about Brer Rabbit and Brer Bear, and they had the little place where they lived up in the Brer apartment above the tree there or something. It was really, really excellent. So thank you again so much for sharing them with me. I'm loving them as much as I know I would. And it's just making me wish we could get you out there walking around the parks, talking about what you see and how you see it even more, because you have such a unique perspective on all this. It's just great. And as you know, I don't know Disney like you. I was there once for a very short business trip. I don't remember it very well, but it's like you're describing something out of the Greeks or the Romans, or just great stories that you don't have to have been there to appreciate the story. So thank you for doing it. I hope you enjoyed doing it. I bet you did, and I hope that you do more someday. And I will certainly buy them. Take care.
Hey, light the lamp, not the rat, light the lamp, not the rat!